Hello, this is Karis Alexander. I want to welcome you to Deep Truth Media. It's been a while since I've done a video, about 4 months. Sorry about that, but lots been going on and I've been wanting to do a video. I kind of struggle with whether to do these videos or not because I really am about supporting people to move into the heart. And I've been writing more on my blog more frequently. And so I'm going to put links to my blog posts, but what I want to talk about in this video is the Messiah Syndrome, Obama, and the Second Coming. I'm going to talk about willful ignorance. I'm going to talk about Keisha and her performance of Die Young. And I also want to talk about the Super Bowl blackout and the meaning behind that. One thing I want to tell you is that, there are prolific characters throughout history, such as Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Joan of Arc, many, just to name a few, who were outspoken recipients of non-physical intelligence, that is, speaking about aspects of consciousness that we are beyond the physical world in which we experience our five sense reality. Okay, and this non-physical form or guidance that they each experienced, they were able to translate into physical words. And there are those out there who can do that, but many of them are not willing to disclose their experiences to others. And I experience the non-physical realms. I experience that which is beyond our five sense reality, third dimensional construct. And so what I share with you is a little bit way out there, and so I bring a perspective of what I'm seeing playing out on the physical world stage from the perspective of one who can see from a distance, from the non-physical, the non-physical intelligence realm, let's call it that. But really, I'm about supporting people to move into the heart. So I just wanted to remind you of that, because there can be this emphasis and focus on the conspiracy movement or the conspiracy truth movement, and that can keep you in a constant state of fear. I mean, I started looking into this stuff in 2007, and for about 3 years I was grieving coming to know the physical world, that I lived in it from a whole different perspective, and grieving the fact that we live in this insane, evil, physical world, but I was able to move beyond that. And so that's the key, is that as one awakens to the truth of who they are, they can dissolve any fear. They can dissolve the matrix that we are embedded in as a species. So I know this is way out there for some of you, but I don't care about losing people here. It's really about sharing with you from the perspective of one who can see things from a different perspective. It is just simply a sharing. One thing I want to talk to you about first off is, and why I want to talk about the Super Bowl, is because last year I did the one on Whitney Houston, the connection between the Super Bowl last year, Whitney Houston, and the Diamond Jubilee. So that was Madonna's Super Bowl sermon, Whitney Houston, and the Diamond Jubilee. And I just thought it would be great to do a follow-up to that Super Bowl from last year with Madonna, and the Super Bowl this past weekend with Beyonce, and then the blackout. And I've done a number of posts that are on my blog, which I'll link here, But I encourage you to go to my blog and subscribe to it, or read the articles, because I am posting there more often than I am on YouTube. So let's look at the Messiah syndrome first. And I want to look at the Messiah syndrome because I believe it was a week and a half ago, Obama was inaugurated again for his second term, and there was an ad in Newsweek that posted a picture of him, and it said "The Second Coming." And I want to show you how the power control force plans out your reality. Everything is well scripted, well choreographed, and well planned out. And when I do my blog posts, I kind of connect the dots and try to highlight specific things. So the power control force, upon closer inspection, are creating a mental phenomenon that of the Messiah syndrome. The Messiah syndrome accounts for 60% of mental illness that manifests after childhood. Apart from hundreds of thousands of people who are clinically diagnosed as suffering Messiah beliefs, traces of the effect of the Messiah syndrome can be seen in people suffering paranoid delusion, schizophrenia, narcissism, bipolar, manic depressive, and body image disorders. In virtually all of these cases, the inability to treat and cure the effects of the Messiah syndrome, as well as reflected chemical imbalances, can explain general poor levels of mental rehabilitation. It's important to protect yourself from this type of brainwashing, because that's what it is, brainwashing. We as a species, the human species, are so vulnerable to mind programming. Misinformation like this truly creates a schism in the brain. On the one hand, because on the one hand we have Obama is the Messiah, or they wanted us to perceive him as the Messiah, and on the second hand, he assigns the NDAA to take away the freedom of American rights. Now, the schism is this a man you can really trust, right? It's like, okay, so he's the Messiah, the second coming, and then on the other hand, he's signing away the rights and freedoms of the American people. So on January 3rd, he signed the NDA based on the introduction of a provision in 2011 that allows the military to detain United States citizens indefinitely without charge or trial for mere suspicions or ties to terrorism. They can just say that you are a terrorist and imprison you. It is said that under the 2012 NDA Section 1021, President Obama agreed to give the military the power to arrest and hold Americans without the writ of habeas corpus, although he promised with that year's signing statement that his administration would not, of course, abuse those privileges. Well, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think that what's going to happen is as people are detained, it's going to get pretty obvious that the American people's rights and freedoms are being taken away. And so when you start seeing your own family members being whisked off to these detention centers, only then will it become really real for people. Not the fact that he signed this NDA. People feel helpless, or they don't even want to look at it. But it's only gonna the metal is gonna hit the road. The rubber's gonna hit the road when you see your family members being detained. Okay, so the reason I share that is because that bill pretty much went through. The signing of that went through. There was really not much fanfare, not much talk about it. And that doesn't leave a very, that's just very disturbing to me. And the fact that I've done a YouTube video on this last year and only got about 1,200 hits on it. And yet, you do YouTube videos on Whitney Houston's death, in which I got like close to 100,000 hits on that one. And it's like, you kind of look at where are people's priorities? It's like, when are people going to wake up? When they're detained, when they're imprisoned and can't do anything? So, you have to come to the realization that there is a war on consciousness, and that if there's a war on consciousness, the power control force, they do have a battle plan. There's a war on your consciousness. There's a war on humanity, the consciousness of humanity, that which you are, pure consciousness. There's a war, and they have a battle plan. Do you have your own battle plan? Listening to these videos is one thing, but what are you actively doing to participate in making sure that you can defend yourself against this war that is being waged on you? And this battle plan that the power control force are waging on you and the rest of humanity is, from what I'm truly understanding over the past few years of doing these types of videos and blog posts, is really based on occultations and celestial events, as above, so below. So they are mirroring events, celestial events that are happening in our universe. And there are certain occultations and celestial events which are quite significant that happen each year, and they mirror that on the ground. And we'll use the Super Bowl as an example of that. And one of the things that I want to emphasize here is that this is the year of the snake. This is a Chinese year of the snake. This is the 13th sign of Orpheus, which many people don't really know about, but from an astrological standpoint, the year of the snake, again, is the year where we're going to be hearing a lot about the new energy that's bathing our planet, which I've been talking about since 2007. The energy is the electron, the electric energy that's coming from the galactic center. The center of our Milky Way galaxy. And so what I want to talk to you also about, I'm going to talk to you about, well, let me just finish off on the Super Bowl, since I'm on that topic right now. But the Super Bowl, there was a blackout, right? But right before the blackout, we had the Super Bowl halftime show with Beyonce and Destiny's Child. They were reuniting at the Super Bowl. And they were doing a song called Nuclear. Now, nuclear, meaning nuclear, N-U-C-L-E-A-R, atomic energy. If you look at the floor plan on the stage at the Super Bowl halftime show, you will see that there seems to be this red, I guess, you see this picture here, it's red with a circle in the middle. It looks to me like it's a portal or a gateway. And then you see this picture also of two women facing each other, or it could be a mirror image. And then you see this circle at the bottom with a red dot in the middle, and that also could be symbolizing the galactic center, because if we look at the Super Bowl, it was actually Super Bowl February 3rd was actually in alignment or nadir to the galactic center. That event was nadir to the galactic center, as above so below, on February 3rd. So New Orleans Super Bowl stadium, the stadium there, was nadir to the galactic center in our Milky Way galaxy. And so I found that very interesting. So this was a ritual that to me symbolize the energy, this non-physical energy that is proliferating our physical world system. I know this is going to be way out there for some of you, but this ritual, this Super Bowl halftime ritual, was Beyonce and all these, and her team singing and dancing around this circle, this red circle, which I believe is a portal or a gateway. I was barely able to even watch the video because it was so dark. But they're mirroring, the power control force is mirroring to the masses and engaging the masses in a ritual which is to how do you say, to instill in the minds of the masses, or keep the masses under mass hypnosis, not knowing the knowledge or not awakening to the fact that there is a hidden agenda behind what it is that they're doing, and that they're trying to circumvent your awakening and knowing of this knowledge, this inner gnosis, the knowledge of the fact that humanity has an opportunity to awaken to itself as pure consciousness, understanding and knowing from the non-physical realms and reclaiming its power to, and wielding that power to create utopia on this physical plane. I know this is going to be way out there for some of you, but I'm able to see it from a different perspective, you see. And the Super Bowl blackout, if you look at the Super Bowl and the blackout, only that came after Beyonce's Super Bowl sermon. And so with her Super Bowl sermon, I'm really seeing that it was a demonstration of the feminine, the feminine energy that is coming on to this, that is trying to rebalance this physical world, but they're trying to circumvent that and make it very dark so that they can corrupt this energy that's coming on to the physical plane for their own means and purposes, and keep the level of fear or the vibration of this planet low as possible. And so people like Beyonce and her team and Destiny's Child allow themselves to be used for dark purposes, ritual purposes. And so this is a display, a dark display of the feminine energy, which is being displayed on the physical world, and yet as above, from the above perspective, for those who can tap into the energies from a very high vibration, positive perspective, it's a very glorious time to be here. Anyway, that's just a little bit of a take. So then the blackout happens, and so there was this talk about Beyonce potentially taking the electrical energy with her as she left the stadium. You see how they play on that? And only half of the stadium went black, so that symbolized to me the yin and yang principle, and that it was the yin energy that was taken away or blacked out, but the yang energy was half the lights that were still on was representing the yang energy. I know this will be way out there for some of you, but you have to understand that the power control force operate on a completely different level. They are creating your reality. They are creating your reality on this third dimensional plane. And they live in a whole different reality outside the one that they're creating for you, for us, okay? So don't be disillusioned, or don't look at this, or what I'm sharing as just like a lot of, crap. It's like, it's very real. And I'm just sharing my perspective on how I see things. And I'm hopefully you're going to be able to take some of this information and do some research on your own and not just listen to what I say and take it verbatim, but see it as a perspective from someone who is seeing this from a whole different level, and that the power control force, they suffer severe mental illness. And if you think for a minute that if they suffer severe mental illness and they are running this planet, that they are not creating an insanity on this planet, that they are not wanting to, that any of that mental illness that they carry is going to not transfer onto the rest of humanity, think again, because it's their system. So if they're suffering severe mental illness, that's why it's so, and they're running this planet, that's why it's so important for you to defend yourself, or learn to defend yourself. It's so critical. And this is not to scare you. It's really, really to hopefully get you to prepare yourself for what's to come. And you can do that. But you must develop a battle plan. And I personally have developed a battle plan in which I support people to move into the heart, because that is what you can do to transcend this nonsense, this insanity, is to move into the heart. And in a lot of ways, the Super Bowl was reflective of what they are trying to do, is to stop humanity from transcending this third dimensional matrix through the heart and through the divine feminine energy and balancing the yin and yang within. They don't want that to happen, because if that happens, then there's games over for them. So with the Super Bowl being at the nadir of the Galactic Center, and this Beyonce and Destiny's Child was really about, it was Destiny's Child, and the song Nuclear was really about the atomic energy. This energy is so powerful. It's not about Korea, which Korea made a threat to the U.S. that they were going to threaten to attack. It's all suggestion. Whether that's going to happen or not is another story, but it's just a story. Play on what was leading up to the Super Bowl. So a week prior to the Super Bowl, Korea threatens a nuclear test against the United States. Nuclear or atomic energy is very much in line with feminine energy that is bathing our planet. And nuclear also is a part of the, Uranus. The planet Uranus. The planet Uranus is associated with revolutionary energy. We are being led into a revolution. We are being led into civil unrest, which I talked about in my last video. So just keep these things in mind. And so what I want to talk to you about to finish things off here is willful ignorance, and then Keisha's performance of Die Young. So when we talk about willful ignorance, I want to talk about willful ignorance because when I saw millions of people at President Obama's inauguration, and millions of people watched it around the world, and the fact that this man signed the NDAA, it's like people are just, I mean, this is beyond ignorance. This is what I call willful ignorance, and it differs from the standard definition of ignorance, which just means that one is unaware of something, in that willfully ignorant people are fully aware of the facts, resources, and sources, but refuse to acknowledge them. And that's what's happening on this physical world plane and physical world stage, is that people are just being willfully ignorant. They getting all the facts, they understand things, but they just don't want to look at it. And that's being willfully ignorant. They refuse to acknowledge the facts. And so the fact that people suffer from willful ignorance is, I know it's hard to believe and sad in many respects, but it's glaringly true, and in all honesty, the reason we find ourselves in the mess we are in. But again, all by design in this physical world system. It's designed to keep the masses ignorant. It's designed to keep you ignorant. It's designed to keep you helpless and apathetic. And yet it is paramount that we, the people, become competent if we want to transcend this insanity of a system. So I'm going to put some links in here to some of these posts that I've been posting on my blog. Because as you can see, this is a long video again. And there's so much to cover. So I'm going to finish off with Kesha's performance of Die Young. I think it was in December or last month. I can't remember. She did a performance of Die Young, which was a new song or release of her album, at an X Factor in Australia. And apparently it may set a record for how much blatant how blatant the power control force can be in their symbolism. And it was loaded in this her performance. On stage at the Future Music Festival, she drank blood from a heart. And I thought this was very, very significant or symbolic while performing the song Cannibal. Again, she drank blood from a heart while performing the song Cannibal. Now, the power control force are outing themselves here in her performance, and they're doing it a lot in a lot of respects. Cannibalism is huge within the inner circles of the entertainment industry and has been throughout history. The eating of organs and body parts as a ritual. And they are simply bringing what has been done behind closed doors for public viewing to program the masses through the supernatural or demonic energy raised inside this magic circle concert, which is what they do with all these rituals. I mean, we are participating in these rituals. These entertainment shows are rituals. They're all a bunch of rituals. And so, wow. Whether there was an actual heart or blood involved, I don't know. But the ritual was performed regardless. I share this because over and over, what is being revealed more and more is the amount of blood sacrifices proliferating our world stage beyond wars and now entertainment. The fact that the heart and blood is used in this public ritual is very illuminating, to say the least, as the heart is where the seat of the individual soul resides, and your consciousness evolves through the oxygenation of your blood. Hence why I believe on a deeper level, all the blood sacrifices that continue to ensue on this planet, on this physical world stage, are in order to keep the dark magic spell or the dark magic power within the inner circles of the power control force. This is how they get their power. One way in which they get their power is through these rituals, through these sacrifices. So I wanted to touch on the Kesha performance there. And yeah, let's see what keeps happening throughout this year. But the year of the snake is very big. This year will be a significant year, as many years, for humanity to reclaim its power back. But there's so many people under mass hypnosis that that's almost impossible, or to believe that that's even possible. But you know, anything can happen. You know, we the people, we as a species have an immense mass of power that is being usurped. And as we reclaim our power back, as we transcend this physical world and move into the heart, we can escape or transcend this matrix and create a utopia, create a reality of our own choosing, and not the one that's being spoon-fed to us through these people who suffer severe mental illness. They should not be running this planet. So I'm going to leave you with that. Leave any questions or comments. But I'm going to emphasize here for anyone who has listened to the whole part of this YouTube sharing here, and that don't leave any negative comments. If you do have something negative to leave or want to leave, don't leave negative comments. It's a waste of time. I do this out of the kindness of my heart. I share a perspective here. Again, it's a sharing. Take what resonates with you, leave the rest. I'm not trying to create any fear. I'm just trying to give you a different perspective. And the opportunity is to dissolve the fear that you may be experiencing by learning and understanding the physical world that you live in from a perspective of being detached is very critical. Then you don't have to get caught into the fear and the paralysis and the mass hypnosis. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks for tuning in.